Just letting you guys know, I have a new podcast episode with a Jeffree Star update and a Lauren Conrad beauty review. So head on over to the No Bleeps YouTube channel or anywhere that you stream podcasts. Hey guys, it's Billy and welcome back to Sesh. We're once again talking about Trisha Paytas, but we're actually talking about drama that she has going on with H3H3'S Ethan. This is honestly something that I have expected to come. I honestly didn't think that they were going to make it past episode 2 of the podcast that they started together called Frenemies. Honestly, if you guys don't know, these two have had like a year-long history of truly going back and forth with each other. I can never tell if Trisha hates Ethan or what's going on. I think that Ethan and a lot of people in the comments of most of the videos that they have together, most people think that Ethan is probably the only person in her life that honestly calls her out on all of the stuff that she says, tries to hold her accountable for them, but she just cannot, handle that. And there has been a massive fight that broke out between the two of them, and I believe she quit the podcast that they started together literally just 4 weeks ago. They have 5 episodes out of this podcast, and the 5th one is the one where they have this huge fight. You can see it on camera. They uploaded the podcast, the video version, on the H3 podcast channel. It is titled Trisha and Ethan Have a Huge Fight, and she storms out. Honestly, Ethan called Trisha out for being a troll when she was trying to say that she was a man. Everybody thought that she was lying about it to, get clout or to troll, and she's been called out by him multiple times. And the reason why she's sort of in their life consistently, in H3's life, is because she's dating Hila's brother, Moses. They've been on and off, but right now they're together, and Moses and Trisha hang out a lot. So she has been hanging out with Ethan and Hila a lot. And in this podcast episode where everything just goes down the drain, basically, Trisha is saying that she wants to buy a house with Moses and she wants to have kids. She wants to have 3 kids, and Ethan is trying to tell her, like, having kids is a big commitment. And she's saying, if I wasn't with Moses, I would definitely try to have kids by myself. Like, I would go to the bank and I would just go and get some, stuff and have babies by myself. She tried to say that buying a house is more of a commitment than having kids, and it's financially harder to have a house than it is to have kids, and that if you break up, splitting a house is harder than splitting up kids. And Ethan is just like, you don't know what you're talking about, because Ethan and Hila have a kid together. They're kind of laughing about the situation, and Trisha says that she turned out fine. She had 2 Christmases and she had 2 birthdays, and that's not a bad thing, and her parents weren't together. She turned out fine. And then Ethan jokes about Trisha saying that she turned out fine. He's like kind of making fun of her for saying that. And Trisha says, look who's talking. And he says that he would never say that he personally turned out fine. And Ethan says that he turned out okay, like he's functional. And Trisha disagrees and says no. She says just because you make money doesn't mean you're okay. And he then goes on to say, you're way crazier than me. And Trisha says that's not true. He says it again, and then she gets quiet. She then goes on to say that Ethan hides his crazy more than she does, and Trisha gets so offended, you guys, like super offended that he called her crazy, that she starts to accuse Ethan of having told her that he used pills at one point in his life. And it takes a serious turn because he gets quiet and he says, why would I need to talk about that? And Trisha says, you're judging me for being crazy, but you've done it too. Trisha makes it this big, massive thing. Like, let's just recap. Ethan called her crazy because they were like having this banter together. And Trisha just brings up out of nowhere, like, you can't call me crazy. Like, you also did pills. Like, what? And so she seemingly took the crazy statement as an insult because she felt like he was saying she was crazy because she's been off meds. I think that, like, calling someone crazy is just like a random statement, it doesn't mean like they're off meds. It just means like, oh, they're being crazy right now. He didn't even mention meds, and she brought that up on her own, and she made it this personal thing, and she took it way too far. Ethan literally thought they were just joking around, and she took it too serious. And Ethan says like, this is why you're a dangerous person to be close with, because someone will tell you something in confidence and then you're going to use it against them in an argument and say something and expose something that they don't want people to know. Like, and then he tried to talk about her friendships and saying, this is why you can't keep friends, because you use information that they give you in confidence against them. And she just got so offended by that. She's like defending herself. She's trying to say that he's the one that called her crazy. She's trying to deny that she ever used any sort of information against him. And it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. He's trying to say, we always call you crazy, like literally upfront crazy to your face. And it's just crazy that this time you would take it to another level and bring up pills out of nowhere. Like, she literally was getting upset for reasons she made up in her head. She thought he was calling her crazy for being off meds when he never even mentioned meds. She tries to say that it's not weaponizing and she's not using anything against him because she just brings stuff up. Like, that's not what she's doing at all, which is exactly what she was doing in this situation. She literally even threatens to like reveal personal family stuff, but then she's like, but I'm not going to. It's like, why would you even say that? Like, that's exactly what he's talking about, how people can't confide in you because you're going to use information against them publicly. He then says he's worried for Moses because she's got all this information she's storing up about him, and then when things go wrong, she's going to try to ruin his life. And he says, oh, but that like already happened. And I had no idea this happened, but I guess Trisha previously tried to say that the guy that she's dating right now, Moses, talked to girls who were under 18 after they had a fight one time, and she put the DMs out there on like a fake alt account. According to Ethan, that's what he said. Trisha's like laughingly denying it, but it sounded like there was some truth to that, and I was just like a little shook. And Ethan tries to say, well, Jeffree Star unfollowed Trisha. Then she gets super mad about that and says that Ethan keeps pushing people to the limits, and he's pushing her and making her more angry. And she tries to roast how he has no guests on his podcast, his views are down, this channel is going down the drain, and that Ethan only cares about views. And Ethan then just says, you know, Trisha, you're projecting onto me. She then says once this podcast is over, like, she's leaving, she's not ever coming back, like, good luck with this channel. She's just over the situation. She doesn't like Moses' family. They're awful. She was pretending to be nice to them this whole time. She never liked any of them. He literally tries to resolve the issue and is apologizing to her, saying like he's sorry that he called her crazy. And she just keeps going off. She's like just mad. She's shutting down, but she's so angry. You can see it like boiling inside of her. She tries to like bring up saying that she knows he has issues because of his family, and she's sympathetic and apologizes. But then she also says, I see why you've been with the same woman for 12 years because you can't get anybody else, and tries to just totally roast his lifestyle and how him and Ela want to expand their family. And people just think that honestly, she might be a little jealous and she might want that in her own life, but she's just upset that she doesn't have that, and so she's using that against Ethan somehow as like an insult. I don't know why being married for 12 years is something you could use against someone like that. Sounds really nice. Good for him. But basically, she gets up and she leaves, and she's like, good luck with everything. Moses ends up leaving with Trisha, but like right before he leaves, he gets onto the podcast and he says, just give it time. So I could see Trisha coming back, honestly, because you never know with her. It's very unpredictable. But right after the podcast, she filmed a video on her own channel. It was a mukbang, and the title of the video was Over It. She basically says, like, usually I'm a good sport, but don't keep pushing at me and pushing me and pushing me. And she's saying that she's upset that he just kept saying she can't keep friends. She named all the friends that she's kept around in her life for so many years, and she clearly didn't understand what had happened and just how messed up it was to bring up the pills in the situation. Like, why would she expose that information about him? A lot of people in the comments are just like, Trisha, like, this is not it. The video has almost the same amount of likes as it does dislikes, and the top comments are really just all about how Trisha is so in the wrong about this situation. One of the comments is, I think Trisha is honestly jealous because Ethan is in a long relationship, married, and building a family. Saying his life is miserable and sad and making fun of his doing room service for him and Hila's anniversary shows that she wishes she had that. All this boils down to is that Ethan is the only person, the only one in her life that calls her out on her stuff, doesn't let her slide on the BS, and yet does it in a sincere and honestly sometimes caring way. She can't handle that. She needs yes people in her life. Like, seriously, guys, these comments, they do have truth to them. And I just hope that Trisha realizes that Ethan was not calling her crazy because she's off meds. He was just joking around and playing with her. And he probably will never call her crazy again because he doesn't actually, I think, want to hurt her. I think he honestly is, as weird as these two are together and as unexpected as this duo is, I think he honestly does care about her and want her to be well and okay. So I think that's why he calls her out. But that's pretty much all I've got for this very dramatic podcast episode situation. I love you guys so much. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.